Well, she's been a young peacekeeper, an Indian Army Major serving under the flag of the United Nations in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa, a part of the world which has seen an ethnic genocide over years, lakhs of deaths, and a near constant state of war. Major Sen, who was a part of the Indian contingent which has been playing a critical role for years, has been honored now by the United Nations Secretary General as Military Gender Advocate of the Year. And she joins us now for this very special interview. Thank you, Major, very much for being with us. I've actually had the opportunity of reporting from Congo in the past. I've got a bit of an idea of how difficult it is. My question to you, Major Sen, is this. Rape and violence against women in part of the Democratic Republic of Congo have been used as an implement of warfare in the region for years. Can you explain to us why it's critical for UN peacekeepers to be particularly alert to the threats that women and children face in the region?
Thank you very much for having me on your show, sir. And I would say if we talk about any conflict, it is very important that we have a gender perspective into the peacekeeping, which would help us to have an all-inclusive as well as a sustainable peace process. So in any of the conflict, it is always the women and the girls who are more affected and who face increased risk of abuse. So I would say, why should any human being suffer, right? So we as the women peacekeepers who are out there in these conflict areas, we try to reach out to these women and try to educate them about what all that is happening to them is a violence, right, for the human beings. And it is just an endeavor to tell them that whatever is happening to them is wrong, and they should make an endeavor to raise their voices and address their concerns that are there. It is just for the sake of humanity that you would want that no one should suffer, not just women and girls, but anyone, any other gender who's also a victim of the conflict. We try to address these problems.
Major, how have you engaged conflict-affected communities? How challenging was it to earn their trust?
Firstly, we always operated by going and interacting with the key leaders of the society. But over the period of time, we realized that the picture that was portrayed by the leaders was not the true picture what was there on the ground. So we started with our engagement patrols into the general local areas, into the IDP camps, the internally displaced people camp. And we started engaging with the local people also to get a true idea of how the situation is there on the ground and what do people actually think about the UN peacekeepers. And other than that, we had also involved ourselves into creating awareness about many topics that are concerned to the women, like the women health, the education on conflict, sexual violence in conflict. We have engaged with people on creating employment training. Suppose we carried out the baking, tailoring cadre for the women and English training cadre for the kids out there. So there were multiple things that we had tried to do in order to engage with people and try to extract maximum of the information that we could, which could help us to address their concerns better and direct their concerns to the right authority.
Major, you led mixed gender engagement patrols in an extremely volatile environment. Can you tell us about the nature of the threat that peacekeepers like yourself need to be prepared for, in this particular area?
Well, Congo itself gives you a very challenging environment. So the threat doesn't always come from the rebel groups. As you know, lately there has been the anti-MONUSCO protest, which has started since June 2022. So at times, we also used to face, some challenges when it came to interacting with civilians. These are the people who are victims of misinformation about MONUSCO. And at times when we used to engage with general public, there had been situations when we all have to just pack our stuff and just load into the vehicle and return back because of maybe stone pelting happening, or there are people raising slogans against MONUSCO. So yes, when we started going ahead with our engagements and trying to know the concerns of the people, there was a hesitation, but we have made several efforts to ensure that that miscommunication doesn't go to the lower level and people still have faith in MONUSCO and they still start cooperating with us, still cooperate with us and help us to help them.
Major, equally, how challenging was it to ensure that peacekeepers under your command recognize the importance of gender and socio-cultural norms in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Well, yes, the country has a long history. It has its own culture. It has its own tradition. There are many, socio-economic issues that happen. But I would say being a part of India, which is a culturally rich and a diverse country, and especially being a part of the Indian Army, because we all my soldiers, they have been working in different regions of the country, and they have served in different terrains. They have seen different environments. It was not really challenging for me to have a team. I would say it was their support and cooperation which has, in one sense, motivated me and helped me to get the information and the concerns of the people better. So it's just that because we are from India and Indian Army gives you all the opportunity and exposure possible, it was easy for me.
Major, a lot of what you have done involves encouraging the solidarity of women in the area, providing safe spaces, for example, for meetings. What have been the benefits of this on the ground? Have you seen changes? Have you seen differences?
Oh, yes. So once we started moving out into the civil areas and started interacting with women, we just realized that they could not actually speak up properly, openly to us about their problems. So at times I used to go inside their huts, sit with them, try to speak to them. But still it was a lot of public around and they were not very much open. So once they asked from us for the safe spaces for them, we decided to come up with an idea where once or twice a month we would invite these ladies inside our bases and try to speak to them. So that was the time I realized they have opened up about their problems. They have narrated instances of sexual violence that has happened with them. And in one way, not just us, they have also motivated the women around them to speak up with their problems. There have been cases where women have shared how they have fought a rebel in order to save herself from the sexual violence. So such examples have one side helped us to get the information and at the same time motivated the people because you learn better from the experiences of other whom you can relate to. So in one way, it has really helped us to encourage women to take up such steps for themselves and save themselves for any such violation that happens against them.
Major, one final question, and I must ask you this. You graduated as a biotech engineer, I believe. You were pursuing a master's from IIT Bombay. Then you switched to the army. What made you pick the olive green?
Well, I always wanted to serve the humanity and India, but I always thought I'll be a scientist and do it like that. So in my last year of my college, I just applied for an SSB. Just for the sake of it. And I went for the SSB to see Allahabad. I thought I'll see a new place. And somehow I just cleared it. And I was already doing my MTech and I was enjoying studying. I love science. I love to study. So when this came, it was my parents who have motivated me and who have who've told me there are many ways of serving the mankind and the country, and I think there's no better way for me to do it than what I'm doing now, and I cannot be happier that I chose this field, and it's just really good to be a part of the armed forces.
And it's something where you've quite clearly been excelling for India and for the United Nations. Major Radhika Sen, thank you very much for speaking to us. We appreciate the time that you've shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.